where we are right now, we wouldn't have got there without our relationships. You know, be kind to people, you know, talk to people. Even us getting a building was Jacob's relationship that he had with someone in the past, you know, from the Kickstarter, like all the donations and things like that. If we were horrible people, we wouldn't have made it.
Welcome to Dishin Up Diaspora, where we'll explore the journeys of people shaping the food world. Through their stories, we'll uncover how food connects us to culture, history, and each other. I'm your host, Chef Emmy, and today I have not only one, but two amazing guests. Chef Reginald Jacob Howell is a proud Tacoma native who discovered his love for cooking in his grandmother's kitchen, where fresh ingredients and soulful meals became the foundation of his culinary journey. His talent and hard work have earned him significant recognition, including winning Chef's Roll Chef's Plate competition in 2019 and being named Washington State's Industry Chef of the Year. He has refined his expertise in Creole and Caribbean cuisines at renowned establishments, gaining a reputation for his ability to create vibrant, memorable dishes that tell a story. Denzell Johnson is an acclaimed barbecue pitmaster from Kent, Washington, known for his signature smoked teriyaki ribs and jerk spice brisket. Yum. Denzell's approach to barbecue is deeply rooted in his family's Texas traditions, but he's made it his own through his catering business, Oopsie Fusion Grill, where he blends bold flavors with innovative techniques. His talents have earned him a loyal following and well-deserved spot on one of the region's top pitmasters. Guys, welcome.
What's up?
Hello.
Yeah, happy Monday.
Exactly. Way to start the new year.
I know, right?
Happy New Year, everybody.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having
Before
us.
we kind of get started, I want to break the ice with a little game I like to call Quick Dish. I'm going to name two things, and you guys just kind of blurt out which one speaks to you the most.
Okay.
Ribs or brisket?
Brisket.
Both?
Yeah.
Is there a combo option?
No, there's...
Yeah.
Fried chicken or smoked chicken?
Smoked.
Fried.
Okay. Mac and cheese or potato salad?
Mac and cheese.
Ooh. Potato salad.
Smoked mac and cheese.
Huh? Well, I gotta lay off
Is
the
this
cheese,
like an
man.
opposites attracts thing? Because you guys...
You know, I honestly, yeah. That's kind of the whole thing with us. It's smoke and
balance.
spice. I think it's
Okay.
it's fire and ice. I think.
Yeah, we got a little
Nice.
balance here.
Yeah,
So
thunder and lightning for sure.
you'll see all of that on the menu, though. So whatever we
Nice.
say.
Okay. Spicy or mild?
Spicy.
Cornbread or cocoa bread?
Ooh.
You know, Jacob's
cocoa bread, man.
bread's fire.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
Cocoa
Cocoa
bread
bread
is
is good.
Cocoa
Cocoa
bread's
bread is
the
good.
winner.
yeah, chef. Yeah,
Street food or fine dining?
street food.
Okay, we can agree to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dry rub or barbecue sauce?
dry rub.
Barbecue sauce.
Okay.
Sorry,
Sweet
Denzel.
tea or mango lassi? Is it lassi? Is that
Sweet tea.
right?
Lassi, yeah.
Lassi.
Oh, sweet tea.
Pie or cobbler?
Ooh, gotta love that pie, but I gotta love that cobbler.
Yeah, pie for me.
I'm gonna go
Pie for
cobbler.
me.
Okay. Grilling or smoking?
That's so tough.
Man, that is a tough
That's
one.
a tough one.
I just started getting into smoking. He's
Okay.
schooling me on that, so
Yeah, that's a tough
I'd
one.
say that's where I'm at is smoking.
Smoking?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's art.
Yeah, it's tough for me because honestly, like I really enjoy open fire.
Yeah.
I love if I could
Yeah.
just have like open fire. Oh man, that'd be ideal. But I do
Yeah.
enjoy smoking.
I think
so.
that's every chef's thing is like seeing that fire. You know,
I know.
that's
Yeah.
what it's like. Oh, what do you cook? You know, I'm
Yeah.
pyro.
Yeah. I love it. Okay, before diving deep on how you guys met and your current project together, I
Yeah.
want to talk about like your separate like bringing up and like the influences that kind of shaped your culinary career. So maybe we'll start with you, Denzel.
Yeah, I mean, that was a lot. Let me unpack for a
You
second.
grew
But
up
yeah,
here in
yeah.
Kent.
So I'm from Kent. A lot of people are like, where's that? Or they say I'm from Seattle, but I'm one of the only few people that'll
You
say
say-
I'm
okay.
from Kent. They'd be like,
Okay.
Yeah.
Really? Yes.
Still 253 area code though. So
It is. So we have that nasty little battle. Like we're just in the middle.
Yeah.
Kent's in the middle. We're neutral ground. Okay. Shout out Kent always. But yeah, so grew up in Kent. Very, very diverse group of friends. So I mean, I grew up with. I mean, you name it. I mean, even in high school, like we were named like the most diverse high school in the country. Like I have a plethora of people that I grew up with from all over the world, different religions, different backgrounds, ethnic groups. So as far as like me and palate wise, I mean, I was getting exposed to just everything across the board, whether it was from the Filipino cuisine, Laos, Samoan, Tongan, Ethiopian, Eritrean. I mean, the list just goes on and on and on. And what was I doing? I was eating.
Yeah.
I was eating, like, oh, it's such and such's birthday, or it's a special holiday, whatever it is. I'm going over there, and I was that kid at all those family parties eating. So that's where it came from, honestly. And then when it comes to like my like oopsies, as far as where that came from, I would get those leftovers from those parties, or I just kind of be in the house and I'd be like, I wonder what this would taste like with this, and just kind of start mixing stuff together. And I was just like, ever since then, it was like, why are we trapped on traditional things? Like, why does this have to go with this? Why does milk always have to go with cookies? Why is it cereal and milk? I'm not going to lie. I put a Coke in some Captain Crunch once.
What?
What does that taste like? I was
What
like,
does that taste like?
Yeah.
it wasn't good, but it's the fact that,
Tried it.
Yeah, I call it fat curiosity, honestly. And, that's how that happened. So as I got older, I made a lot of stuff. It was like, it's a lot of stuff. We can go on and on about that. But yeah, it was just kind of mixing those things and taking those experiences and like, ooh, I really liked this family party and I like that one. Mm-hmm. Why not have them both on the plate? So that's the root of that, 100%.
Nice.
Yeah.
How about you, Chef?
From Tacoma, Washington. It's not really diverse down there. If you know Tacoma, anybody from Tacoma, we're like, we all kind of have the same kind of mannerism, same family, but I'm related to a lot of people in Tacoma, so we're all mostly from the South, here by military. Most of our families, like Fort Lewis, is how a lot of the people I know came to this area. So just growing up there, my grandma, I'm the youngest of three brothers, so before they were even, or I was even able to go to school, I was at home, doing chores, gardening, breaking down chickens, things like that. It's more traditional, like Southern. My grandma fried chicken almost every day. So that's kind of where my curiosity, I would say, came, was just figuring out what she was doing. Because I knew she was older, and I was, at a young age, knew that I wanted to be the person to carry on tradition. So I tried to soak up as much as I could. She's making rolls for the holidays, pies, the gardening, the little things, kind of almost nurturing aspect. So just learning to take care of people through household and food. But for me, what got me into like cooking super bad was in college. I was, broke college student at the time. I was out of school, in school, then did have a place to stay and things like that. So I had to cook to pay rent. So I started to get good with minimal ingredients. And when I got, back into school here at UW, actually, that's when I started working a restaurant, and it made sense. And then everything that I learned kind of just like came back, and then it saved my life in that sense.
Wow. Nice. Both of you bring a lot of like your personal family inspiration to your cooking. Can you tell me some of the traditions and dishes from your childhood that you've carried into your professional careers?
I'd say the rolls for me, bread making. My grandma used to make rolls for the church, for the house. We'd always have a little pan and just lots of butter, copious amounts of butter. So my bread making is what I've like dove into more as I'm like coming more into my career and trying new things. So bread's definitely like where I'm carrying that from the fam.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think mine was almost kind of going against the grain, because it was like, with Texas, it's so strict as far as like, hey, like brisket is always like salt, pepper, garlic. It's SPG. You don't really dance too far outside that. And then like, so my mom's side of the family's from Texas, my dad's side from Memphis. So it's like, nah, we do Memphis style barbecue. And then I'm over here doing injections and dry rubs, which is like, why are you doing both? I do,
it's
definitely
really
not within the line. So I was almost like
the rule breaker.
Yeah, black sheep when it comes to that. So.
Okay. So before you guys met and, decided to come together with this project that you have coming up, tell me a little bit more about like your professional careers.
Yeah, for sure. So I started out, how I kind of got my chops, we'll say, as far as cooking and grilling. My homeboy who I grew up with within the neighborhood, we've been friends for over 25 years. His uncle, which is really his cousin, but it's his uncle, we call him his uncle, he had a Hawaiian restaurant. And so I started working there like 14, 15. So grilling and kind of learning all those tricks of that trade. So that's kind of where I started there. And then in college, same thing, kind of, similar to Chef a little bit. But mine was just kind of like the backyard parties. Like, hey, we need somebody to cook for this event, whatever. So I'm busting out the grill. I'm building Walmart grills and just kind of throwing meat on them. Like, hey, this $5 plates. And, I was getting busy that way. Eventually jumped into different restaurants, worked in downtown Spokane. I was a kitchen manager. I was a pit boss at one of the barbecue restaurants out there. So that's kind of how I learned a little bit more of the structure and the really, more so techniques and things that needed to be as far as like a business goes. And then once I was kind of out there really making all these other people money, I was like, I want to open my own joint. Yeah. And then, one day a friend of mine, she was like, I'm getting married. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. She was like, can you cater my wedding? I was like, oh yeah, I've been catering weddings for years. I can do it. Never done it in my life. And that's how I started catering. It was right off of that. That was 2013. Yep, as far as the catering goes. And then I was just kind of hit the grill running, we'll say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what about you, Chef?
My first job was actually down the road at Cultivate. It's a student-owned, operated restaurant that's right under the dorm. So that was like my first cooking job. I started on salad and like pies and dishwashing and things like that. So I was more curious to see like what an actual restaurant, how it runs. So just getting in there, getting curious. I got good real quick at salad or, pantry side. And then I was like, hey, can I work fryer today? Can I work grill? Started getting good at those. And so I eventually worked my way around the kitchen to saute, which is one of the busier ones. And that's where I kind of was like, oh yeah, this is it. So I'm like I said, the fire, the pans, the quick action. I'm like, this is exciting with the open kitchen too. So I was able to like get in there, learn, but also gain confidence cooking in front of people live. Cause it kind of, you keeps you, working clean, keeps your uniform clean, keeps you like finessing, and people come for the experience. You want them to like leave happy and leave like felt like they left a show or concert. And that's kind of like how I like got that urge for it. But after I graduated, moved back to Tacoma, worked at Dirty Oscar's Annex, which was like a breakfast American gastropub, and then got good. I got really good at it, and it just made sense for me. Just in the kitchen, what needed to be done, how to teach people, how to like just. I was a quick learner, so did that, and I was sous chef in 6 months. So I was like, oh shoot, I'm taking this serious, and like all the homies used to come see me. Denzell, one of the places we rekindled ourselves was he see me back there cooking and was like, oh, what's up? So that was cool. But after that, I just took the opportunity to work at different restaurants. From there, I was sous chef at a Japanese ramen spot, and then I went to a Spanish-Italian fusion place in Tacoma. Did that for a few years, and that's where I kind of honed like just cooking with different things, taking everything I learned so far, and then just trying to like incorporate that in pasta and Spanish tapas. And from there, other opportunities with the chef's role presented itself in the industry. Chef of the year presented itself. So that's kind of where it stemmed, and that's when I got the itch to like you said, I'm making all this money and good food for other people, and people are already assuming I'm like owning these places. I'm like, nah, I'm just a lonely cook back here. So. That's why we're here now. Just kept pushing.
Yeah. So how did this connection happen? Like, where'd you guys meet?
Man, several places.
yeah. It's like what time?
What year? Yeah.
Okay.
So there was always some undertone, like just kind of off of Instagram too. Kind of knew each other. Social groups, just different.
All our friends are the same, pretty much, from college in Tacoma in that area. So.
Yep. Different groups and things like that. But then my favorite kind of, we'll say like re-meet was I was hosting an event. Like I used to MC a lot of random stuff, and it was in Tacoma. Was that on Hilltop?
People's Park or no? Was it
Keepers of the Hood? What was it? Keepers in the Hood?
It was It
was an event, and chef was cooking, and it was like boom. He had busted out some grills. I was just like, oh jumped over, helped get some grills tied. He was like, oh hey, what's up, man? It was like we knew each other, but that was just kind of like the last reignite. Then just really Instagram. I think Instagram, honestly.
Yeah, social media started to pick up, and we're like, I see you, and we kept just seeing each other grow.
Yeah.
Every time like I would do something, he'd be doing something. I'm like, okay, cool. And those, as chefs, we're looking for the people that are kind of moving like us. So we just kind of like just been keeping in touch since then. And then several other people that cook, we're just like pushing each other, and like if I see a post and he's posting, I'm like, okay, we got to keep up with each other. We're not competing, but like let's keep growing. So eventually, like our friend group brought us together again, and it's just parties. We end up being the ones that are cooking, or we're in the kitchen, like get out the way, like let's just get this set up. Why you got this way? And then our last one, it was the 4th of July last year.
Yep.
Yeah, we were cooking. What was I grilling? Some lamb, and then you're doing the burgers.
Yeah,
and I had some leftover marinade, and he dipped the burger in there and threw it back on the grill, and was like, "Try this." I was like, So then we started really deep dive on conversation, even though we have over the previous years, but this was like a more serious one. Like, well, what are we doing next? So that's
Yeah, even like Friendsgiving. I mean, it was the highlights. Like our dishes were kind of the highlights.
Yeah.
There was another time. It was actually the 4th of July before that. Remember that chicken?
Yeah.
We were. I don't know what Jacob put on the chicken. I think it was like some chef sauce. He put something on there, but
I be working on the sauce all the time, so I'm trying to think what it was.
And we both just linked down at the same time and smelled it, looked at each other, we were like, yeah. So I was like, okay.
Love it.
It was nice to have somebody other than myself, at a party that I could talk to about food.
Yes.
So then we just started linking there, and I was like, okay, this is my safe space here. Let me find this guy every time I see him. So.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. A friendship connected through
it
food.
It's stuck ever since.
So.
I love this so much, you guys. Okay, so tell me about Grann.
Yes.
My elbow there.
Nah, Grann. It happened so fast. We've been working on our individual concepts for a while, and we were getting to the point of, okay, we've got to do something. We're ending up in these situations where we're not happy. We really want to take everything we learn. We trust that we can, open our own spot. So an opportunity to open up in Tacoma for a space. We actively been looking already.
Yeah.
But then it popped up, and I was like, hey, what do you think of this? This restaurant just closed. Let's slide in there. And then, I met with that chef and the owner that week, and we were almost talking in negotiations within the following. So it was just like, all right, cool. So what are we really doing? What do we really want to do? And then we had an opportunity to sit down and, Grann popped up. Our visions aligned as far as who we want to do it for, and
it was fast.
Yeah.
It was one of those things. A lot of this stuff, I, telling Jacob, was a lot of this stuff is really just kind of God given, divine, whatever you believe in, universe, whatever it is, kind of happened. Because I had just had a wild situation. I was promoting for this big event, the bite, and then it was it went all bad. It was crazy, and it was just that happened. And then the next day, Jacob was like, "Yo, what do you think about this?" And I was like, "Let's run it," So it was just kind of things are just kind of falling in line, and it just kind of ran out. It just ran perfect.
It made sense. It made sense.
Yeah. And we've been putting the pieces together since then.
And what is the concept? Can you explain?
Yeah. So the concept, Southern barbecue, Indian, and Creole. So that kind of hits a little bit on all of our background together, and then we're putting that experience and that passion and that soul really on the plate.
I love it.
It was tough because this makes sense to us, but can we make it make sense to everybody? Because everybody's like, oh, okay, but it's smoke and spice, and we're calling it the tail between smoke and spice. But it was one of those, we're not cooking for anybody else, and this is our thing. So why not do what we want?
Yeah,
So
I love that.
it was hard to narrow down because I wanted to do Italian, this and that, and I'm like, nah, let's stick to what what really hits. And I think the India trip for me kind of stuck me there. So
I'm a fan of chef's food regardless. So it's just what is that? He's always exposing me to different stuff. Because me, I'm big protein. Slab, brisket, ribs. So then, Jacob's been opening up a different can for me. Hey, try this. What do you think about this? And then I'm just ooh, let me throw this on that. Bam.
Yeah.
I want to be in the kitchen with you guys.
Oh,
come on.
Look. What? We'll
be doing some R&D here shortly, so you got to drive to Tacoma. So
it's okay. I will.
Cool. We'll make sure we feed you.
Come on down for a good meal.
I want to talk about what you kind of mentioned. When I opened my restaurant, my family opened the first Brazilian restaurant here in Seattle, and after 20 years, I took over, and I really didn't want to do Brazilian food. I talk about this a lot. I immigrated to Seattle when I was 6 years old, and so my whole life has been really just assimilating to American culture and kind of whether it's consciously or subconsciously, trying to keep my Brazilian culture at an arm's length. So when I opened the restaurant, I really didn't want to do Brazilian. eventually, like, I saw how silly that was. I found my way back to my roots, and really fused Afro-Brazilian food and Pacific Northwest, because I was raised here, so that's part of me as well. But I really struggled with like wanting to cook what everybody else was doing, and kind of like wanting to assimilate and just be that like Seattle, like Pacific Northwest, like hipster food. And it wasn't until like I did the food that like reflected me and my identity and my story that like it was successful. And you mentioned, you know, possibly wanting to do like Italian food and stuff. Like, how did you find your way? How did you know that this is what you wanted to stick to your guns with?
You know, in the previous restaurants, it's been mostly like Creole, Caribbean. And then like, you know, my wife's Indian, and they took me to India for 3 weeks. And like, and this is in the midst of me like falling in love with Italian food as I'm at that restaurant and process behind that. And you know, other restaurants, I fell in love with each cuisine, but it's like, which one really speaks for me? Because, you know, growing up, I was eating the same thing, chicken, greens, and that's all I've been cooking. And I'm like, man, I want to get away from this. I want to like break this like norm, even though I know this is like a great thing, soul food. You know, people put that super definitive like this is what it is. So I wanted to like try to run away from that, but I just kept ending back to where I was at. So, you know, for me, and then I figured out soul food isn't just those. You know, I can define it my own way. So after the India trip, I was just blown away by like flavor. You know, and that was like my second thing, international trip. One is a, you know, chef where I'm actually like out looking for the snacks and like, you know, all the flavor. So just, I hit the street food too, man. People were like, yeah, don't do it. And you know, but I was with family. A lot of people are taking us to good spots. So just deep diving there, and then it just like clicked. And I was like, like the street, I had some fried chicken that came in a backwoods bag. From the best fried chicken I had. And I'm like, you know, we got home and I'm opening, I'm like, what is this? They got us, you know, like, what is this? Open it, pour the chicken out. Some of the best fried chicken. I'm like, ooh, this would be bomb on a, you know, chicken sandwich back home, or chicken and waffles. And so everything I started to taste made me miss, you know, cooking Southern food. Just the added flavor, the different spices, and everything's so fresh over there. It's hard to reciprocate that. So, you know, suitcase I brought full of spices will be at the restaurant. But other than that, it was more of just trusting, you know, everything I grew up with and everything I learned, and not being afraid of that and taking it head on. So, and just incorporating my travels with it.
Yeah, I love that. So the flavors of Grann blend Southern, barbecue, Indian, and Creole flavors, which I feel like all have deep roots shaped in like histories of colonization and trade and just shared cultural influences in general. How do you see these influences like coming together through like any common ingredients, techniques? I mean, you mentioned the fried chicken, and like, do you see the similarities of how we're all connected?
Yeah. So one of the cool things for me is, so, you know, Jacob will say, oh, this is an X, Y, and Z dish. And I'll be like, oh, okay. And then I'll just kind of tie it and be like, oh, this is like an etouffee, or oh, this is like kind of like a goulash mixed with a gumbo mixed with this, you know? So I'm always pulling from what I know, my knowledge base, to something that Jacob's exposed me to. So like for me, this is all a learning experience. Like I said, I'm simple. Jacob's very refined. He's got all the details, all this vast knowledge of culinary like experiences. So for me to kind of not dumb it down, but to kind of find that commonality, there's so many things that are common. And it's just, you have to just kind of sit and think about it. Just like, oh, this is just like that. That's my favorite part. There's a lot of crossover.
Yeah.
It's tough too, because we're trying to like, you know, make all that into one plate where I'm like, okay, well maybe this is just the Indian and Southern dish, or this is just the Creole dish. So it's hard to like pull those apart, because like they want to like go together so bad. But the beauty of like this cuisine is simplicity is key, and that's what we've been like teaching ourselves, like editing it. Like we don't need so much, just impart a shit ton of flavor. Are we cussing on here?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Shit ton of flavor.
I want to say cuss word.
I cuss a lot. Sorry, but sorry, wife. Yeah, she's gonna be.
Why are you doing that?
But not. Is it you know, editing ourselves and like taking the simple things and just like, you know, giving them, you know, the nurture and care, and like just, you know, making them more dominant in the dish. Or if it's like more turmeric in a dish, if we got more coriander. We started using garam masala on some of the briskets to give it a try, because there's, you know, about 16 blended spices in there. So it's kind of just finding that balance of like not taking one thing and having overshadow because there's too much. So we want to just simplify it. But there's so much room for, like, our menu now is like just the beginning. You know, we have a lot of stuff we're trying to hold back. So.
Yeah. Wow.
So just kind of give a little context. Sorry to cut you off. So, like, my grandma, for example, everything I make for her, she's like, "Why you put that on the ribs? Why you do this? What is this green stuff?" Like, it's rosemary. Like,
that's my mother-in-law. She's like, "What are you doing to this dish?" I'm like, I'm trying to make it a little more southern. She's like, oh, "Okay."
And she's like, "This ain't good." I'm like, "Yeah, just try it." And then she go, "Oh, okay, it is." So, for example, like the vindaloo, right?
Yeah.
Fire. Vindaloo. It was over the cardamom cornbread.
Yeah, cardamom cornbread. We did smoked turkey.
Did a smoked turkey, and we threw it in there. Smoked turkey vindaloo, fire.
Yeah.
So me explaining that to my grandma, I'm like, okay, like imagine like a red beans and rice, but we had a smoked turkey in there instead of like ham hocks or something that you put in X, Y, and Z. We put this whole turkey in there, and then it's just cornbread. Like I had to like break it down to her. And then explain it. Yeah, and then she tried it, and now she's waiting for it to come back.
So that was a good one. That one's
that's top. That's up here.
The flavors you guys are describing. It just sounds like they naturally come together, and like, why haven't they been together all along?
Yeah, they do. They've traveled to find each other, so we're just trying to like make it make sense for people. And also with this cuisine, it gives us opportunity to like explain history behind, anything that we can. So that's one of the main focuses, when we open, is just like, we want our servers and our staff to like, if somebody's got a question, be very knowledgeable on each cuisine, each spice, seasoning, how it's used, where it comes from. So that's the fun part, is telling the story behind it.
And I love that, like, it's a great introduction, whereas, like, somebody might not, like, go to an Indian restaurant for whatever, like, reason. They might be intimidated. They might just not know any better. This is a great, they might feel more comfortable starting out with you guys and getting, like, that flavor through the food that you're presenting. That seems a little bit more familiar to them. Yeah. So I love, like, the fusion coming together.
A little bit of everything for everybody, so you should be happy.
Nice. You both have mentioned the importance of honoring your family through the food you serve at Grann. I'd love to hear a little bit more about like how you view like your restaurant as a bridge for community, family, and tradition.
For us, we grew up, for me, Boys and Girls Club, and like we had a place to go to eat, shower, see your friends, be safe. So taking all that and just playing sports and how we were taught growing up is like, you take care of one another. So I've been in restaurants where there's horrible culture, there's it's a lot. There's some negative kitchens, and we're trying to really just pull away from all that. We don't want anybody coming in feeling unwelcome, unsafe, and we want to like make it a space where families can come. A lot of people are having kids. A lot of our friends have kids, so we wanted to make sure we're family friendly, so people can come out and eat with their families and not have to find a babysitter because it's expensive. So just having just a space people can, when they pull up, they know they're going to get the same treatment every single time, no matter who you are, what you look like, and things like that. And all of our food options, we have a little bit for everybody. The gluten-free, the vegan, the dairy-free. Not trying to have as much pork, but obviously we need some. But just having a little bit something for everybody. And I think that'll, when people walk by and they come in, they're able to talk about it. They can, it'll be for everybody. So.
What do you hope people take away from an experience dining at Grann?
Oh man,
I want it to be like
the best.
Exactly, the best ever. But for real, So I mean, when it comes to that, I think I want people to feel like they've traveled everywhere, but then they were still at home at the same time. So it's like I want this. We want this worldly experience from your couch type of feel. So that way you don't feel like, oh wow, like I really had a really just an extravagant experience, but I didn't have to fly to Sicily. I didn't have to go to wherever, to have this experience. It's down the street, it's 6th Ave in Tacoma. And I didn't pay $95 a dish, for this plate. And that's really what I want to bring, good experience to the common person.
I love that.
And right in the neighborhood too, right in 6th Ave. So we've got a lot of neighbors that have already been coming by or excited. And that's what we want, is like a neighborhood friendly place, just people to go to.
Yeah. So you're still working on like the menu and stuff, but are there like any favorites right now that you can kind of describe? I just like, I'm
mean,
loving
the
how you guys
vindaloo,
are
you heard
describing
about
it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I
Vindaloo
didn't
be on
I just
there.
want you guys to sit here and describe the food for me.
Oh, man.
I didn't want to beat, not beat a dead horse, but the vindaloo is definitely gonna be a game changer.
And what is the
for
vindaloo
sure.
for those who don't know?
So vindaloo
Let's
is
describe it.
it's like more of a Southern Indian thing, but it's like a spiced tomato kind of stew. You can do pork. We did it with turkey. Goat's good, lamb. You can do it with any protein you want to, but it's just like a tomato-based stew. And we're adding like the smoked paprika, coriander. There's a little turmeric, some garlic, chili oil, things like that. And it's just it's a basic thing. And our vegetables are Holy Trinity, so it's in a sense just a basic bean stew, but just lots of flavor.
Yeah.
But that dish I never actually had. It's something I read in a book, and I was like, hey, let's try this because this makes sense to be good with the beans and the smokiness. So it's one of those dishes that was actually our first dish. We workshopped together, and then it was like, all right, this is gonna be one of our staples, hopefully. So
Yeah.
Yep, and that kind of the root of that was like, how do we what can we do with red beans and rice?
Yeah.
And that was kind of how that came about.
yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. And then when it comes to the brisket biryani, is a crowd
brisket
favorite.
biryani,
That's the second for
You
sure.
gotta have the biryani, man. That's like
It's
one of those you gotta eat with your hands too, folks. So
Wow.
we'll give you your silverware and all that, but if you want to eat with your hands, that's what I do, and it tastes better.
It does
It's
taste
yeah,
better
we
when
put a
you
little
with your
Carolina
hands.
Gold barbecue sauce over the top.
Yeah,
It just has so much flavors. So as far as pop ups go, it's gone.
yeah.
Yeah, it gets
Brisket,
it's,
we sold out a brisket in less than 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah, it's
for a
gone.
pop up. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're not there first, you're
Yeah.
last. And
Yeah,
then you're not
yeah.
even last. You don't get anything.
yeah. We've got what else is on there, man? Our butter chicken pasta. So we wanted to do some, butter chicken that's one of those you see that and you're like, okay, I'm gonna get this. So it's like, how do we make this fun and approachable? So we stuffed it in a pasta. We're doing angelotti pasta, doing chicken andouille, smoked butter chicken sauce, curry leaf, and then cashews on top. A lot of nut allergies, so
So good.
that's gonna be a banger. And I love pasta. That was my way of like, all right, we need to roll some pasta. So that was me sneaking that one in. So thank you. And then what we got?
That beef lamb burger, the masala burger.
The masala burger is gonna be dope. I mean, you gotta have a good sandwich. That's
Yeah.
like if I'm going out, I'm like, how's the burger? How's the chicken sandwich? And that just is what it is. So the burger's gonna be good. All of our sides are traditionally like barbecue sides,
Yeah.
with just the added like we're doing a curry masala mac,
Wow.
coconut greens.
That's a good one. Yeah.
And then our desserts too. So we're doing beignets, but in the style of gulab jamun. It's just pretty much like rose dessert. So it's a donut soaked in like rose syrup.
Oh.
So be taking a beignet, more fluffier dessert, and then drizzling that over kind of. So
Tandoori ribs.
tandoori ribs, ribs and skins.
The ribs and skins. That's how I'm excited. Yeah, the ribs and skins gonna be
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Ribs and skins.
That's
So the
all
rib
sounds so
rib tips
good.
and some chicken skins.
Yep.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
With nice little dust over the top.
I love
lots
it.
of flavor. So I'm
Fire.
excited for that
Yeah,
one.
I love it. I
that-
love how you both are like super excited and
Yeah.
like just like the vibe off of each other. I feel like I grew up learning like, don't do business with friends or like, just keep friends and family and business separate. But
Yeah.
it seems like you guys really like work well together and drive off of each other. Like what advice, like why do you think that is? And what advice would you give people
that's a good
wanting
one.
to?
I think it's more so understanding personalities. Like Chef is really go, boom. He's like, hey, we got this, we got that, we got this, we got that. And then I'm more like, okay, yeah, we got this, cool. Like I move at like kind of like a more like a consistent, slower pace. And then Chef is boom, boom, bam, bam, bam. So it balances out. I think it I don't know, it's a good push and pull.
Yeah,
You have to understand, you know how they say know your personnel, like you have to understand the person that you're working with and
Yeah.
be able to balance that.
Yeah. And for me, because I'm used to kitchen time, so it's like you got to get up and go. So having the balance with him, I'm able to like still have that energy because I'm just like energetic as is, but then having that balance of like seeing in between the lines, and like that's the balance. And we've always tried to like at any point in time where we're like maybe veering off from being on the same page, we'll sit down and have a talk. And that's what a lot of places don't do is communicate, over communicating. And we're we sign up together in this, so we want to finish together. And you see a lot of places struggle because of that, of lack of management and cohesiveness. So we're really trying to set the tone for this is how it should be done, and try to promote that and show people that it can work. You just have to talk. A lot of people just we'll let things build up and all that stuff, and we're like, hey man, like what's up with this? Like, and it could be quick and easy. We're done, and we're moving on. So
you have to know. Yeah, you have to be humble, and you got to kind of know your space. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not gonna argue with him over specific cuisines or like kind of the flow of like, let's just say like maybe inside of the restaurant or something. There's a specific flow in the kitchen.
Yeah,
I've usually been one man band with like my own team, so like, but he's been running kitchens, so it's like, hey, swallow the humble pie. Like, listen up. He's been there, done that, so you gotta kind of play that game.
I think I'm learning the patience game from smoking. I bought an Oklahoma Joe, which he coerced me to do. They were on sale. So my first offset smoker. So now I'm like I'm trying to think like he does. I'm like, okay, how would Denzell do this? And I'm up at like 3 a.m. I'm trying not to text him like, so I'm having some issues, but I'm like learning that process of like to slow down. I've been running a million miles for other people. Now that I'm here for myself, let's slow down and take it. So that's why we're not like rushing into anything. We're kind of, like we said earlier, just letting things happen naturally. So
I love it. Oklahoma Joe. What is that?
It's just a smoker.
Okay.
It's the good one from what he says. So I was like, all right, I'm getting it.
Yeah, it's just a smoker.
I've been into that. I've been up late nights. A lot of my clothes smell like smoke now, but I love it. It's like it's a good cologne.
It's a good cologne.
My wife's like, dude, like take your stuff off in the garage and then come in the house. I'm like, okay.
Yep.
It's my smoking quarter.
Smell like
That's so funny. You two both have mentioned, especially you, having worked for other people, just really this next chapter, doing it for yourself. And I think, especially as Black men, which in the industry, we don't see a lot of like Black owned like restaurants and Black chefs owning their restaurant. Like, how important is this to you? Like, what do you feel about this moment and this like example that you're setting for others like us?
Man, that's it's humbling just to have that question asked, because it's like you don't sometimes see yourself as that person who's like a leader or an influencer. So I've had other chefs come up to me and who want to work with me, and I'm like I'm like, okay, like, all right, I'm trying to take it in, but it's cool because I'm like, then you get a chance to reflect and like, okay, where I'm at right now, and who have I crossed paths with, and what have I done to make, people want to come work with me. So then you try to evaluate that, and you're like, okay, cool. These are the set of skills and like energy and the vibes and stuff you'd want to see something successful, but you also know how it feels to be treated. There's plenty of restaurants and places I've been where I've never gotten the respect, even probably to this day, and overlooked for certain positions and raises and things like that. So it doesn't, I know what it feels like. So I don't want that to be put on anybody else, especially someone looks like me. So if, a young brother comes with me and he needs the job, is looking, of course I'm giving him an opportunity. It's not, oh, let me check your extreme, like, who'd you work for? Like, no, if you want to learn, you want to learn. I didn't go to culinary school. You didn't go to culinary school. So, it's an honor to like be in that position, just to like be an influence for the next generation. So
yeah, being an example is huge. If anything, I would say, hey, fear is going to be there, but if it scares you, you probably should do it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that advice. So with Grann opening soon, there's not a date yet, but soon.
Almost.
Okay. What excites you most about this next chapter that you have coming?
I think it's more so just kind of, hey, the proof is in the pudding. Like, it's kind of like the first game. We've been practicing for years. We've been playing on these other teams and things like that. But hey, this is our first game, and I'm excited just to see people eat the food. Yeah, I'm excited to hear the forks hit the plates. Like that's like my favorite sound, like the clinking and clacking of eating. Like, that's what I'm excited for. Granted, we got that during the pop-ups, but
yeah, when
it's gonna be like at our restaurant, I mean, I can't put a price on that.
Yeah, when the door's open, somebody walks in. We had somebody walking the other day. Was like, "Are you open yet?" Oh. I'm like, "No, we're not." But how you doing? He was like, "Okay, man. Somebody told me you're open." So that's a good feeling there. Just for once, it's taking ownership. Like, it feels good to like, this is ours. You know what I mean? Like, I think we say it every day. Like, hey, man, doesn't this feel good? Like, just to be there. And our Friendsgiving was we had a moment like where we sat back. We had Friendsgiving at the restaurant this year, and all our close friends, pretty much our circle that we have right now. And then we sat back and was like, man, it sounds good in here, it smells good in here, it looks good in here. There's a lot of people that look like us too. So it was just a beautiful sight. So we're excited to like have people come in and have that same experience.
Yeah.
So
I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so proud of
Thank
what
you,
you
thank
guys
you,
are
thank you,
doing.
thank you,
Like,
thank you,
it's
Chef.
really, it's important work, honestly.
Yeah.
People might just say, you know, she's cooking food, but it's
Nah,
really
nah.
important work.
You know how hard it is to open this, man. We still going through some permanent stuff, so
Yeah.
we're almost there. It's more than cooking. There's a lot.
I know, and
Every
to the
day.
people who think it's just like overnight success, or like you just did it really quickly, like talk about like the journey that it actually took from the beginning. You know, this is like years in the making, right? So it's not an overnight. It takes a lot.
Getting used to all the equipment, people, getting to know your vendors, keeping relationships with customers, because those will be the customers that want to come in. So it's something you have to build. It can't happen overnight. I've with other avenues of support, but we're doing this from out of our own pocket. Really no outside help except for our inner circle and those who have reached out, and we have them on board now. But it's a lot, and cooking is the fun part, and then that's all people want to focus on, the service, which will be great that we'll have. But behind the scenes, it is a stressful gig, but we wouldn't be here if it wasn't something that we didn't yearn for. It like keeps us going, keeps me healthy, like stressing, to be honest with you. Like I'm up at 3 a.m, like, hey man, we gotta put that chair down. I don't know, there's random stuff, and I'm like, did we do this? Did we do that? And he's like, go to bed, bro. And I'm like, I'm trying. So but it's cool. It's one of those. We're happy to share those stories if someone asks, like, hey, how'd you do that? And it's like, we're happy to talk about it.
Yeah, the story is what I think a lot of people. I'm excited to share that, because I think a lot of people might overlook that, and the different challenges and the peaks and the valleys. And there's so many times where we're like, oh, we're up here, like, oh, this was a great day, and then something random will happen.
It's
and
always
like,
something.
Oh man, not saying that would take us down, but it's just like you're always battling something interesting every day. So you can't really pray for rain and then cry about the mud. You know what I'm saying?
That part.
Right. So that's where it's at. I think you really have to, every day you got to flip that coin over and be like, all right, what's the day going to bring today? And you just got to tackle that every day. So
any advice for, people wanting to follow their dreams, open up their own spot?
I got some good advice.
Do it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you should do it. And one, I think you should really cultivate your relationships, because I feel like, as far as like where we are right now, we wouldn't have got there without our relationships. Be kind to people, talk to people. Even us getting a building was Jacob's relationship that he had with someone in the past. From the Kickstarter, like all the donations and things like that. If we were horrible people, we wouldn't have made it. You know what I'm saying?
Relationships are so important. Yeah.
And when people hear relationships, they're like, oh, I need to be cool with LeBron James or somebody, great, that'd be cool. Shout out Bron. But it's the it's him, the people downstairs. You got to know people and just be kind to everyone. Yeah, because you never know who's going to help you out.
Yeah, that's a great advice.
Yeah. That's the hammer on the nail, man. Just be a good person. Cost $0, zero overhead to be a good person.
$0.
But anybody wants to, just do it. You never know when you get an opportunity to open something or start a business, start a brand. If you want to be an influencer, just get up and do it. It may not be perfect to start. Do it for a week straight. Figure out a system, a schedule. Just keep going at it. Like this is 10 years in the making for us, and we're still haven't started. We're almost there. So time is an illusion. Take your time, do what you need to do. It'll be all right.
Nice. Guys, thank you so much for taking your time out to come over here and talk to me. I know you're super busy in the midst of opening Grann. Thank you so much again. Tell people how they can follow, support you, connect with you.
Yeah, for sure. Follow us on Instagram at Grann Restaurant. GRANN Restaurant.
Yeah. And you can find both of our perspective Instagrams in the bios or on the page. I mean, you'll see our faces. We get the most likes with our faces on there, so you'll see our faces a lot. Other than that, we are hiring you guys too, so follow that at Instagram, or you can info@grannrestaurant.com. Shoot a resume over, or reach out on socials, and we'll get back to you. So we appreciate you guys. Yep. Thank you, Chef.
Thank you. All right, friends, thank you for listening in. Be sure to subscribe and stay tuned for the next episode of Dishin' Up Diaspora, where we'll continue to uncover the stories that connects us all through food.